I'm married, I'm Christian, and we are expecting a daughter, Aurora, who will be born in 3 months. I became the most voted federal congressman in Brazil, and I'm here to warn you about what's happening in my country. I apologize if I make any mistakes in my speech. I'm still learning English. The left returned to power in the presidencies of Brazil this year, but it has had the power of universities, media, and culture for decades. America is like a body, and its health is a tripod: patriotism, morality, and spirituality. If someone undermines these 3 areas, destruction of identity. If you are nothing, then everything can be everything. Therefore, they will destroy your identity as a person. Young people no longer know what or who they are. They are carried away by any wind of doctrine and cling to what is fashionable. They tell you, dress like this, use this type of language, and finally, live like this. It is the generation most lacking in good references that has ever existed. After all, the left replaced Jesus with a Black Lives Matter activist and exchanged the cross, which represents injustice, against an innocent person for symbols that represent nothing other than selfishness of activism itself. By the way, the rainbow is not yours, but ours. Read the Bible and you'll find out. Also, beauty no longer exists. The focus is on shocking, whether in fashion, music, films, and TV series. The important thing is to sell a culture that delivers everything you want, except meaning of life. Slaves to their own will. A generation that cannot handle pain, confrontation, much less being told what is wrong. Who exchange their parents' advices for teachers who never carried them in their arms? Who commit the strange of the youth to actions that only serve those who are dominating them? They are too foolish to know that they are being used and who uses them. Like those who campaign for abortion, but ignore that 75 years ago, the Universal Declaration of Human Rights was published, which in its 3rd article states, everyone has the right to life. This is a 12-week-old baby. His or her heart is already beating. It has a fingerprint. There is no one in the world like this baby. When they find a bacteria on Mars, they call it life. But this child is just a clump of cells to them. To those who propagate death and help the largest silent genocidal movement, we will respond with a culture that recognizes the sacredness of life and encourages its acceptance. I renew my commitment of protecting the lives of children, both before and after birth. This is the first and most fundamental of rights. Without it, nothing else is possible. But it is not only tool they use to change our culture. Men who use it to lie about their ages, to go to war and fight for their country, but now lie about their biological sex to compete with women. How did we get to this point? Who is responsible for creating this generation? Where are the men and women with the courage to say they will not bow to tyranny? Are we watching the world collapse in front of our eyes and we are just going to watch it? No. We ain't nobody's slaves. Our freedom was achieved with a lot of sweat and blood, and it would be very naive to believe that it would be not with sweat and blood that we would maintain it. I come here to give a message to all who still have hope in changing the world. The world will be a better place if there weren't so many people promising to improve it. It's a quote from philosopher Olavo de Carvalho, and that fits perfectly with Greta and Leonardo DiCaprio, for example, that supported our socialist president called Lula, a thief that should be in jail, and now we have Amazonia with the worst fire in 15 years, and they are just in silence and disappeared. Let us first be the change. I know that the situation looks terrible and the conservatives tends towards private life, his work and his family. But if we don't rise up for public life, our private life will be and is in danger. To do this, we need to raise educators who will dictate new directions for UNESCO, for example. Education that teaches and not doctrinates. New judges who will honor the magisterium and deliver justice. And not like some of Brazil's Supreme Court who have betrayed the Brazilian people and persecuted their political opponents. New teachers who will use the classroom to train students and not activists. New artists, musicians, directors who will influence culture towards something other than just sex and promiscuity. New people who will transform this world. Know that if you are listening to me right now, I believe in your strength, in your ability to influence and change where you are. You start with your family, then your neighbor. Bring light to your neighborhood, and we will live better than we are now. We never know the extent of our influence, where our voice will reach. But I hope I have reached your heart, because I'm speaking from it. Love is the only thing that transcends time and space. So I hope this speech resonates across generations. To complete, I always say a phrase in Brazil. The present is theirs, but the future is ours. But I hope that one day I'll say, the present is ours, and so is the future. Thank you very much.